this is the end of our fourth practice, and obviously early in it, but I've appreciated the way the guys have come out and approached it, and obviously got a lot of work to do, but it's been good.
Have you needed a program to tell who everybody is out there?
No.
Got a lot of new faces.
And a couple number changes too, like Fayon changes number. That one got me more than anything, but we got obviously the 3 true freshmen in, and no, it's been good. And, we've been lucky with the winter. We were able to do a lot with them and be around them quite a bit, and that's why I think it's this has been a good change from the winter in the weight room and conditioning type stuff to get out on the field, and they've worked well with each other, and obviously some plays look like football and some don't. We got a lot to do.
You lost a lot of players the last 2 years. Does this feel a little bit like a new team kind of?
Yeah, it does. And there's a lot of opportunity, and then even in the O-line, with Cole and Tyler out, and Urge is limited right now, so a lot of young guys getting work, and and I think there's some positions, DBs, a lot of them have had some. I think this is always a good spring when you've got some experience and yet you're still early in the process, and so I think that's a group that can and should be, and I think is making good strides, because I think it means something having gone through it once, and so that's why spring's a good time. Everyone's got a chance to get better, and as long as they have the right approach.
Well, what does Chryst or need to provide from in the spring and in fall with that young group, since he's by far the oldest of that group?
Yeah, I think that and what Chryst needs to do is, I think there's a couple things. Chryst has got to continue to keep getting better as a player, right? There's an individual component to it, and then and he approaches it that way. He's always been that way, so that's good. And then obviously he's a natural leader, and he has played a lot, and even though he certainly Ryan and TJ had a ton of starts, but Chryst is a natural leader for us, and what I'm impressed with, it's not just leading the defense. I think he's doing a good job being a team leader, and so I think Chryst has to be himself, because those things are natural, but he can kind of set the tone in a lot of ways, and yet I think that's right up his alley, so it's good.
Chryst has lost a lot of weight since the start of last year. How much do you think that's helped him as a player?
I think it always, I think that every player goes through kind of finding their sweet spot, and early. So I trust where he's at is, he feels good with it, and his weight room numbers were good, so it's not like it's taking away from something. So, I think each guy's got to find that, and that's what as you get older, you figure it out. I think it helps.
Jonathan's done so much for this team already in 2 seasons. In your mind, where does he take another step in his 3rd year? And do you anticipate his workload being similar? That he's taking 300 carries each season. Is it how to prepare his body for something like that?
Yeah, I think you always got to prepare and get yourself in the best shape you can, right? And then, what will his workload be? Don't really know right now. I think that's, what does it have to be for the team? And that's what's really impressive, and what you appreciate from JT. He'll do whatever he can, and and he's got, there's things that he can do to work on. He is working on, which has been good, but it's I don't know exactly what his load will be, right? It depends on, that's what was nice about, Taiwan, last year did some things. We got to have someone step up. Grosh obviously took that, and we've got some young backs that, can they take some of that? And then it's what are we offensively, or can we be a little bit more balanced or not? And those are things I think to be determined.
I know it's only practice number 4, and obviously a lot of attention around Graham from the outer world, if you will. What are your first impressions initially, not just on the field, but what kind of guy he is, what kind of player he's going to be, maybe any potential leadership qualities? What do you see in him so far?
No, it's been great having Graham here, and obviously was impressed with him. The more you get to know him, the more you like him, and you're impressed with him. How he handles everything. And you're right. Practice-wise, for practicing, but he's approaching it the right way. He's puts the time in, studying it and learning it, and going out, and he's done some good, and he's not afraid to make a mistake. So I think if you have that approach, then you can get better. And I think he's done a nice job with the team, kind of getting to know him and allowing them to get to know him. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that. A lot of it takes time, but he's been doing everything you'd want him to do, certainly.
Is it a tough transition at all for someone who coming from high school was in the gun pretty much the whole time to kind of take snaps under center? Does that take a little transition period for a guy like that?
I think each guy's a little bit different, and I remember Kurt Phillips doing it, and initially it was, but also that's the good thing about spring, and even before we got going, you get a lot of reps at, but he'll continue to get more comfortable with everything that we do.
Has Jack taken a little more of a leadership role, considering he's now the oldest guy in the room and has a little bit of game experience now?
Yeah, I think right now Jack's being Jack. I don't think he's tried to do something more because of I'm the oldest one in the room. He's played. It's kind of when we were talking about the DBs when I was talking about it. He now knows, okay, this is what I'm preparing for. So experiences help you in your preparation, and so I think he's done a nice job with that. But I don't think he's trying to change or be something that he's not. And I think he's got natural leadership skills. He's got players respect him and the way he works and approaches things. So I think he's been doing well so far.
Kind of on the same line of guys getting older, whatever, I guess. Tyler Biotish, I saw, even though he's not practicing, I saw him kind of guiding still a couple of the younger guys. He obviously hasn't been in that kind of role before. Do you think he's going to maybe emerge a little bit, develop a little bit more, since now he is, I guess, the most experienced?
Yeah, he's, there was certain dynamics, right, with the lines before, and Michael was certainly a leader in that group, but Tyler did a lot of it, and I think they both did it a little bit different style. But he's been good, and that's what I like about a lot of the guys. If they're not going, they're going to try to do everything they can to help the guys, and we need that out of them.
Leo Chanel's listed at, I think, 239 pounds on the roster. Have you seen many freshmen, especially early enrollees, as physically developed as?
He's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's been a couple. I'd hate to forget one, but he's impressive.